Hey everybody, Carl here, and I am back to continue working on the Bad Moon Loonshrine. So, to give you an idea of what I've accomplished so far, this is what I've done the past couple of weeks now. The majority of the additional colors, the mushrooms and the skeletons and everything, all that I did yesterday. So today my plan is to finish up just a couple little things here and there with the contrast paints, which I'm using as the base. Filling in a couple places that I noticed that I had missed, and redoing or putting a second coat of the Magos Purple on the mushrooms there. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to move on to starting with the layers to really add some more depth to the overall thing. Yes, I am quite the master wordsmith, I'm well aware of that. So, I'm going to begin with the Wildwood, which is the darker brown that I have on the stone base here. Sigmar Brown is what I had used for the little bits of fungus that are on the side here, which are going to look quite a bit different once I get some layers onto that. But yeah, so I'm going to start with the Wildwood, and we will take it from there. Now I do have some striations that are caused by the contrast paints currently on the bottom stone bits, and I don't want to change that. What I'm doing, again, specifically is I'm looking for little places where I kind of just like missed a little bit. Bits like around the fungus where I didn't quite get it with the Sigmar Brown, because I didn't want to start, mixing things up too much. So I'm just going in and kind of taking care of those little gray bits where I can still see the primer. And I thought earlier I had seen just a tiny bit where one of the layers there had kind of oh, here it is, right underneath that little ridge in the stone. I know you can't see it from the way the camera's angled, but there's a little bit of gray there that I had missed. And I'm just going to kind of dance a little bit around the edges of some of these little fungal bits. And a lot of that will end up getting covered with the layers anyway, but just want to make sure that I've got a decent, properly covered base before I move on to those. So I'm using the base coat brush. Originally, when I had started on this for the big pieces, I was using specifically the medium dry brush, because it's huge and there are a lot of little nooks and crannies I had to reach in here. Well, there's a lot of, let me correct that. It's huge and there's a lot of surface area I needed to cover. But now that I have that surface area covered, I can go in with a smaller brush and take care of those smaller nooks and crannies. Again, I don't want to go too heavy with this because that would kind of undo some of these cool little striations that are going. But I do want to make sure that little bits I missed are properly covered. So I'm going in very carefully here. So I also don't want to try to avoid getting the bases, the stems, I guess, of these mushrooms. I already have a little bit of dirt on there, as it were, from when I was a little overzealous with the larger brush. But I should be able to cover that a little with maybe some of like the Administratum Gray. careful. Just kind of dancing around here and making sure that I hit just the stone and not the fungus as best as I can. Now with the brown fungus, it's not as big of a deal because we are dealing with brown on brown here. Yeah, they're slightly different shades of brown, but the big differences are going to be coming when I get to the layers on them. So if it's a slight difference in there, it's not the end of the world. And yeah, I know I use that old chestnut of a saying quite a bit, but it's one that I like using, so there, deal with it. Very careful, just trying to get a lot of these indentations in between the mushrooms back here. With these flatter fungi, it's definitely a bit tougher. And like I said, I don't want to end up hitting the fungus itself. Just want to get in right up next to it. Let's see if there's any other bits that I still need to hit with the round fungus around here. Again, I'm not going too crazy with it. Just want to make sure that I have just the very basic bits covered, just so I know it's complete. Because the wildwood is so dark, I really want to make sure that I don't build it up too much, because that'll get rid of some of these nice little striations from when I was painting it, where it's a little bit lighter because less paint had gotten in there, and so it dried lighter. So we're just trying to be very, very careful here. Just slight touches here and there. That's all I'm doing. Okay, I think that takes care of the wildwood. So let's put this guy back down for a moment. We'll move the paint pot off to the side, clean off the brush, and get ready to go back to the Magos Purple. I think what I'm also going to do, because the first two layers I'm going to go to are the two covering the bigger areas, obviously the moons and the bit that I just did with the wildwood. I'm going to get out another paper towel just to rest this on, so I don't get any more paint on my desk than is already there. Okay, back to the Magos Purple. It's a nice shade. It's a bit of a redder purple than usually I'm a bigger fan of the bluer purples like the Shaiish purple is. But the Shaiish is also extremely dark, so we want to... So we're using the Magos here because it gives a a lighter reddish purple. And as always, if you accidentally put a little too much of the contrast on there, you can still kind of wick it off, load it back onto the brush, and just move it on to the next piece. Remember, wherever it settles and pools, it's going to dry darker, so definitely want to guide it into those little nooks and crannies so it'll shade them for you. Again, I don't want to go too crazy here. Just enough to show that there is color there and really make it stand out. That I can then supplement with the layers afterwards. Mushrooms upon mushrooms upon mushrooms. Thinking when I'm back at the store tomorrow, I might want to pick up a white layer just to lighten up these stems a little bit. Since I had used the gray cere as the primer coat, left them a little on the darker side. But if I get something just to lighten it up a little bit more, I think that'll work out rather nicely. I do have some light grays, but I think I'm going to want them to stand out a little bit more than that. Let's quickly move back over here to the little ones in the cage. And the little ones that are on this poor skeleton's arm. Just a little touch-up, that's all. Now, if you were watching yesterday, you'll know that before putting the Magos Purple on these, I gave the entire mushrooms, both the stems and the caps, a coat of Apothecary White. Which then kind of darkened to a gray in the little folds underneath the caps, which made for a very nice effect. But also further grayed the caps a little bit. And we're about to get a visitor on the stream. Hi Vivi, how are you? Would you do me a favor and please step back? I don't want to get, paint on your fur. Thank you very much. See, he's actually starting to listen to me now. He's such a little sweetheart. Yeah, there are definitely some bits in there where I got a little too much of the brown. Actually, you can see it all over the place, where I got too much of the wildwood onto the stems. So definitely want to be able to come back later on and attempt to fix those with a white layer. But who knows, maybe I'll try it a little bit with the Slinesh Gray, which is what I was going to use for the little polka dots on these mushrooms. Maybe that'll be fine by itself. Maybe I don't need to get a white. I'll just use the very light gray. We will see. We can experiment a little bit. That's the fun of all this, you know? My own little world, my own little Bad Moon Loonshrine. At the end of the day, the only person that I need to make happy with the way that it looks is me. As opposed to when I was doing Sabine Wren, in which case I also needed to make the voters in our contest happy. And my second to last place finish showed that clearly I did not accomplish that. I think he's coming back for another visit. Playing with the paperwork on my desk. What you doing there, kitty? You being naughty? Oh wow, this is looking really nice on this one. I'm not quite getting an effect on the others. Maybe I just need to apply a little more paint to it. And now he's lying down on my paperwork and watching me. What a strange little cat he is. Well, at least he's not knocking things over, so that's good. Now, if you'd like to help out somebody who's been a huge help to our channel here, you can go to a site like multistream.live, and while you have us open in one window, or you can also just have multiple tabs open on your computer, but while you have this channel open in one tab or on one part of your multi-stream, you can also visit Dr. Red MD. He's currently streaming some Fallout 76, and he has been an immeasurable help to our channel here, helping to give me some advice, watching when he's not, streaming on his own channel, getting clips and everything prepared. So if you go and give him a follow, that would be a really nice, cheap, free, easy way to say thank you to him for all the help he's been. His channel is dr_red_MD. He's a good friend of mine in real life, not just on the computer here. He was actually roommates with my best friend for a while. And the two of us had worked together a long time ago. Vivi is now completely in loaf mode. Paws curled up underneath him, looking like a little loaf of bread on the corner of my desk. Hey, Minecraft Noob 38, how's it going? Thank you for joining me this morning. Or afternoon, I guess, over where you are. I decided to come back on for a second day this weekend and continue my painting because I was very happy with the amount of progress I made yesterday and wanted to keep that momentum going. So I'm now adding my second coat of the Magos Purple. The Instagram for the store is it's instagram.com/ToyWiz.store. So same username we use here. And on it you can find, the images of the stuff that I'm doing here. You can find the stuff that Lewis has been posting of the Crisis Protocol miniatures that he's been painting. He's been doing some work for one of our club members in painting his Marvel squads. Send you a picture of your painting? Yes, absolutely. I'd love to see it. That goes for anybody who's watching this, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this on YouTube or on our Facebook page afterwards. If you'd like to, share some of your works, please, by all means. We would love to see it. Oh, thank you very much. I will take a look at it a little bit later. Since, I mean, I know you may not believe me on this, I'm a little preoccupied at the moment. But I'll absolutely take a look at it. Thank you very much for sending it along. Kitty is now sitting up and paying a little closer attention to what I'm doing. I think I should be a little concerned about that. Might end up with another on-camera visit from him. Nope, now he's nibbling on the brushes. Okay, that's not good. Okay, Vivi, stop that. Stop that boy. Pardon me for one moment while I extricate the kitten from my... Okay, good, he stopped. The old saying is very true. Cats are extremely curious. Curiosity did kill the cat, but satisfaction brought him back. Unfortunately, that satisfaction also ends up destroying some of my stuff. Nope, and he's back at the brushes. Okay, come on, boy. Let's go. Let's get down. Get down, boy. Boy, come on. Go, 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 go. Come on. I see you there. Come on, let's go. No, don't rub up against my hand. Down you go, silly guy. Little troublemaker he is. Last batch. Again, I'm not trying to get these, too dark and too purple. Just want them a little darker than they were before. Again, if it turns out once they dry that they're still a little too light, I can always go back and put a third coat on them. This piece is very pretty. Almost sounds like something out of Hollow Knight. Which, if you're a fan of so-called Metroidvanias, with a bit of a Dark Souls element to it, I strongly suggest checking that game out. It has this adorable aesthetic that belies a much darker and grim undertone for the general themes of the game and the storyline and everything. I know I'm not exactly breaking new ground here. It's, been on many top lists for quite a bit since it came out. And they even have a sequel in the works that hopefully will be out this year, following the adventures of one of the NPCs from the first game. Originally, it was designed to be, it was supposed to be DLC, or just additional content for the main game, with this, other character as a playable character. But Team Cherry decided instead to make it a full-on sequel. So, 3 cheers for Kickstarter. Alrighty. Let's close that Magos Purple back up, put that over to the side, and let's clean off the brush. Again, we're twirling it up against the side of the mug, because we want to try to keep that point safe. Don't want to fray the edges of the brush. Okay. So I think the next thing I'm going to be doing is going over the greenish Gryph-Charger Gray that I have for the 2 moons there. And I'm using the guides that are on the official Games Workshop site for the different colors that I'm using here. They have what they have, rate your picks from 1 to 10. I will, don't worry, I'll get to them soon. But I'm using what they, if you go to any given figure on GamesWorkshop.com, they'll have a painting guide, and they'll list what they have, what colors they suggest to make it, battle ready, and then what colors they suggest to make it parade ready. And battle ready is just, let's quickly throw some colors on there and get this thing, playable. Parade ready meaning let's get this a lot prettier. So I'm using the colors that they had suggested on the official site for this one. So with that, let me check my paper here. We're going to be going to a color called Dawnstone. We're going to use this now to gray up some of the greenish gray on the moon. Now the question is, do I want to just apply this as a regular layer of paint, or do I want to dry brush it? I think I want to apply this just as a regular layer of paint here. So I'm going to play this as safe as I can. And yeah, I'm definitely going to have to use the larger brush because this is huge. But I got to play it safe because I don't want to get this all over the place. So let's just give it a little test and see how this looks. I'm just going to put a tiny bit on the brush. Again, just want to get a little idea. So let's start up on the top here, and I'm going to try to keep the brush strokes all going in the same direction. I'm not going to go too crazy because I do want to keep the darker green underneath there, especially in the little nooks and crannies. But there we go. Not seeing as much of the contrast on the camera, but it is a bit more visible directly in person. Again, just got to do this nice and careful because we don't want to undo what I've already done with the contrasts. The contrasts have already done the job of doing the shading by getting into those little nooks and crannies. So I don't need to worry about going in with the shade later on. To mention, the Gryph-Charger Gray undercoat is going to have an effect on the general color of the Dawnstone that I'm putting on top of it. So whereas if I had put this over a different shade of contrast paint, it might have come out, you know, lighter or darker. Or in this case here, not had that little green tint underneath. Again, I'm not looking to completely cover what I've already done. Just looking to kind of supplement it here. And then when I go back and add an additional layer of paint to this afterwards, I'm probably going to stick with dry brushing just to get the raised ridges. Now, because I've got a lot of material to cover here, I'm not going to be wrapping this up at all today. Not by a long shot. Most likely, I'll be able to get the I'll be able to get the Dawnstone done, and I'm thinking maybe I'll do a little bit of the layer I'll be adding to the Wildwood. But then I'll resume the rest of this next weekend. I certainly don't want to burn myself out here. Or burn you viewers out as well. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Move on to the undercarriage here. There we go. See the difference in the shades now. Unfortunately, I'm losing a little bit of the distinction there between the Dawnstone and the Griff Charger. We're just giving it a bit more of a natural stone hue. Again, I know I've mentioned in the past I do like how the the Griff Charger Gray has that green tint to it, but at the same token, I don't want to go too crazy with it. Turn the moon around. Okay. That's looking a little bit better. I think I may have gone a little too heavy on the top there, but my technique, I believe, is improving as I move my way down. And putting a little bit less and less of the paint on the brush each time I go through. Again, this is a learning process. This is only the second time now I've used the layer paints. And the first time I just used them as a dry brush, so still very much a learning process for me. Oops. A little on the fungus there, oopsie. I'm not doing a full dry brush technique here, but almost a semi-dry brush, because I'm, without fully moving the paint off of the brush, I'm going very light with it and spreading it extremely thin. Oh, that's coming out really nicely along the teeth there. Whoa! Okay, Kitty was climbing around in my closet and just knocked a bunch of stuff over. I'll have to clean that up a little bit later. Well, hopefully you're able to pick up a few little things here and there while I'm doing this. I'm not quite the best teacher when it comes to painting because I'm still learning myself, but hopefully, like I said, hopefully you can pick up a few things here and there. If you have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them, to the best of my ability. Like I said, what I'm doing right now is using the layers, and I'm not going too crazy. I did go a little heavy on the top there, but if you notice, I'm just kind of brushing a little on top of what I already did here on the side. Again, not going full dry brush technique, but just enough to get some of the outer ridges, get some texture to it. Whew. Now, dry brushing is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. You don't want to really heap your brush up with a lot of paint. You want to have it so it's almost dry. So you're only getting a little bit of paint on, and it's only kind of really hitting the parts where you put a little more force into it. So if you're really kind of pressing hard, dry brushing isn't really going to look like it's making much of a difference because it's still filling all the nooks and crannies. But if you're applying a bit of a lighter touch, you're only going to hit the ridges. That helps to create a layered effect on the piece. So as you can see, I've covered up a lot of the greenish Griffcharger gray, but there's still little bits and pieces that are sticking out. which give it depth. That's also where the shades come in, just by way of explanation. The shade paints, they're thin, just like the contrast paints are. So they kind of get into the nooks and crannies and then pool and darken. So if you're looking to get a darker effect there, or if you really want your shadows to stand out more from the lighter bits, you can combine. Well, first thing you do is you put your base coat down, but then you put the shade on top of it, which will darken the base coat a little bit, and then get into those little nooks and crannies and darken those parts a lot. And that's what I did when I did the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, to really emphasize the muscles and the spaces between the fingers and toes. And then you use the dry brush to add that extra layer of lighter elements on top of it. So it all works together. So I hope that helped out a little bit there, Minecraft noob. It actually might help you a little bit with the scales on your lizard men. Okay, and with that, I think we might be done with the Dawnstone. Again, I definitely put a little too much on top there, but the rest of it, I think I had just the right amount. Oof, okay. Let's seal that back up. Now, I know this is going to sound like the height of hello, Mr. Captain Obvious here, but always make sure that you have your caps on your paints nice and tight. For two reasons. Number one, you don't want the paints to dry out. If you have little gaps when you put the lid back on the pot, you're going to end up getting air in there that's going to cause the paint to dry. Secondly, when you go back to the paint later on and you want to shake it up to get it ready to paint with, if the lid's not on tight, you're going to end up with paint all over the place. So, again, things that seem kind of obvious, but sometimes just kind of, they slip your mind when you're working on some stuff and not really paying as much attention to what you're doing. And they're little mistakes that just literally everybody makes. I can't tell you how many times I've popped into the 40K Facebook group and had people sharing pictures of their horror stories from when they grabbed their paint, shook it up, and ended up with paint all over their workspace. And it's like, yeah, you laugh, but this could happen to you. And VV is knocking my papers over again. He's really being a troublemaker this morning. Or I guess this noon, since it's now 11:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means that the store will be opening up in about a minute. So as always, feel free to stop on by there, say hi to everybody, pick up some miniatures, pick up some toys. Do me a favor, pick up some comics. Although if you're overseas, like our good buddy Minecraft Noob here, it's going to be a little tougher to come in and visit the store in person. So, in that case, I would ask you to visit ToyWiz.com. Alrighty, let's move on to this bit down here. We're going to go with the Gorthor Brown. And I'm going to work on the bottom elements. Yeah, I wish you could stop by also. Maybe someday, once travel really resumes, you can take a vacation to the New York area and stop by and say hello. Well, this is globby. Alrighty. Take a little bit on the brush here. I'm going to wipe it up against the side of the pot and start getting... Oh, that's nice. Now, another thing to keep in mind when you're dry brushing is you want to try to go against the grain of what you're doing. Because if you go with the grain, you're going to get the brush into those little nooks and crannies. Oh, very cool. Well, when you come to New York, if you're in the city, we're not that far out of it. Maybe a 40-minute drive. So, see if you can hop an Uber and swing by the store. As I was saying, though, sorry, I'm trying to look at a couple different things at once while at the same time trying to keep the kitty from destroying things. By going against the grain, you'll make sure that you're just hitting the raised ridges of whatever you're painting, as you can see there. This also helps keep the inner bits nice and dark. Okay, Vivi, you really got to get down because you're destroying my medical bills. Okay. Well, don't complain. You're the one who's misbehaving. Oops. See, now that I'm distracted by the cat, I put a little too much paint in that corner. Ah, well. I'm going to be putting another layer on top of this, so we'll still get the striations and contrast there. And there goes a ballpoint pen. Yeah, but that looks amazing. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn and tout my painting abilities, because clearly there are plenty of people who are much better at this than I am. But I mention that just to really draw your attention to what you can accomplish with that technique. The other thing to bear in mind when it comes to the layers like this is that this is where you're doing more of a standard acrylic type of painting. It's not like the contrasts, which are like using watercolors. This is, you're doing regular painting here. I think I do want to go, again, this is just a personal taste, I do want to go a little heavier on the layer, just because I like how it contrasts with the much, much darker wildwood. Again, it's, when you're doing yours, you can put as much or as little as you like. If you prefer it to be even lighter than I've got mine, then you add a little bit more of the layer paint to it. If you want to keep it nice and dark, then just maybe either forego the Gorthor layer paint entirely, or just apply it a lot more conservatively. I will also say this is going a lot faster than I was anticipating. Again, probably not because I'm not trying to, cover everything like I was doing with the shades of the contrast rather that I used for the base coat. Hey, Kitty Calamity, how's it going? Good to see you here. Hope your weekend's been going well. To those of you watching who are not from the area, who haven't been looking around here, Kitty is one of our a fellow ToyWiz employee. She works in the back office, and she is our Pokemon expert. She's also a huge critter, so if you are a big fan of Critical Role, Kitty will be overjoyed to talk shop with you. And on the subject of Critical Role, we'll get to Pokemon a bit later. Pokemon's huge already. But on the subject of, or I mean, feel free to discuss it in the chat. Don't let me stop you by any stretch of the imagination. But just because I'm thinking about it, on the subject of Critical Role, Dark Horse Comics has some more Critical Role backstory coming out soon. They're going to be doing some, original graphic novels, delving into the origins of the various members of the Mighty Nine, starting, I believe, over the summer. So the first two we're going to be getting are Caleb and Jester, and then they also have an NPC-related book that's going to be releasing as a regular monthly volume, Tales of Exandria, and the first volume is going to focus on the Bright Queen. Oh, okay, no problem. I'm absolutely happy to answer questions. Do we have the Tal'Dorei campaign book at the store? Do we sell out? Last I checked, we did have one copy of the Tal'Dorei campaign book still. Now, that was one that was actually published by a different publisher. It was before they were working directly with Wizards of the Coast, because they did put out a Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which dealt with the continent that Campaign 2 takes place on. But I know we did have the Tal'Dorei book. It should be over with the other D&D stuff. In fact, I can message over to Lewis and ask him if he can pull it aside if it's over there for you. And I'll make a note to order more next time we have a Southern Hobby order going through. I love the effect that this is giving on this thing. We list them on the site. Yes, Christina, we answered. Yes, I am well aware of that. I don't believe we ever did put it up on the site, so they wouldn't be showing up in FileMaker. But again, I can. Lewis always answers his phone. Well, not necessarily answers his phone if he's busy helping a customer. He won't. But if you shoot him a text, he'll be able to find it. Or once I'm done with this color, I'll quickly give him a text and see if he can go grab it for you. Someone on the fan groups want the book. Can't seem to find it except on Amazon Super Upcharge. Well, If that's the case, I'm starting to wonder maybe it might be out of print. And again, it was definitely it was not one that was officially sanctioned by Wizards of the Coast. I mean, I can't see how that they would have, you know, put a stop to it. But it's certainly a possibility that they didn't do a second print run on it, or in between print runs. But yeah, as soon as I'm done with applying this Scrag Brown to the rest of the base here, by all means, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding Critical Role stuff. I do kind of organize the D&D section anyway. But yeah, once I'm done with the Scrag Brown, before I move on to the next layer, I will get in touch with Lewis. Okay, that's fine then. Lewis doesn't mind being bugged so much. Just like I don't mind being bugged when I'm not at the store. I mean, he was messaging me last night about some comic questions, so... never an issue for either of us. But tell them I said hi. Okay, take care, Minecraft Noob. I will absolutely, when I'm done with the stream, take a look at your pics, and I will send you a message letting you know what I think. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Just look at that. As I realized, I just had my fingers in the paint the entire time, but it dried pretty quickly. But yeah, look at the how it creates those layers of color on there. Now on the other side, I went a little bit lighter on it, so you're seeing a bit more of the wildwood pop up from beneath it. But Kitty, if you're still there, you know, tell Lily I said hi, and tell her to tell everyone else I said hi. Getting back to the Critical Role comics, though, even if you're not in the area of the store... Wow, 85 to 100, jeez. Okay, that definitely tells me that it's got to be out of print now. But getting back to the comics, if you know, you're watching this and you're not in the New York area, you can't come by the store, and you want to get a hold of them, we do have the new Tales of Exandria books up for pre-order on ToyWiz.com. So just do a search for Critical Role there. And Vivi is attacking my slippers now. So you've got Kitty Calamity in the chat and a Kitty Calamity happening in my bedroom. And I'm looking over at the stuff that he knocked out of my closet that I'm going to have to get to when I'm done with the stream. I don't know what it is about that closet that cat seemed to love. Lynx, my previous cat, was the exact same way. She kept, you know, jumping on in there and messing around and knocking things over. I miss Lynx. Lynx was awesome. Don't get me wrong, Vivi's awesome too, but... I just love cats in general. there we go. By applying the layer on top, we got these nice little striations going on, which adds a lot more depth to the color. And really makes it shine. Again, like I said before, I went a little heavier on this end, but still looks really nice. Still gets the striations in there. You can see the little, lighter bits and the darker bits. Johnny Depp in Beetlejuice 2. That's not... I guess that wouldn't be particularly surprising. I mean... God, why am I blanking on his name? Tim Burton loves using Johnny Depp in his movies. And Depp is a good actor. Doesn't always make the best choices in his roles, but... and his current legal issues may be problematic. But dude is absolutely a master of his craft. Now, would they be using him as a new Beetlejuice, or would he? I would hope a side character. I mean, Keaton is still active, and he's, in fact, being. Oh, okay. Thank you, Minecraft. I know he's a little busy right now with being Batman for the DC movies, but well, I'm not going to comment on that, just to avoid getting into anything potentially controversial. But we can discuss that. We can discuss that later on at the store. Okay, so let's see. We got the brown. What do I want to move to next? I think probably the next thing I want to do is... You know what? I should probably go back to the... Yeah, because I did the cages in Wildwood. So let me get back to the Gorthor Brown. Then I think I'll move over to the Scrag Brown, take care of the fungus and the little horn up there, as well as the ropes. But yeah, like I said before, Johnny Depp is absolutely a fine actor, and even the stuff that's become almost self-parody now, like that first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Jack Sparrow was amazing. He was just a fun character. It was all because of Johnny Depp's interpretation of the character. But once you start getting into the later movies, when they started writing Jack Sparrow, that's when it started getting sillier, and it really kind of lost some of his charm. He considered a partnership. Ah, okay, that does make sense then. And that is unfortunate. That's probably then why they were able to get involved with Wizards of the Coast to officially put out the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Oh, I hear trouble. And there goes my purple gel roller pen. And somehow he has now managed to get the pen inside of my boot. I'm not even mad, I'm impressed. Okay, so realized I forgot to replace my drying towel. Let's wipe this on down before I move on to the next piece. And before I do that, let's shift this stuff out of the way and give you guys a little moment with Vivi. Hey Vivi, you want to say hi to everyone?
Come here, little guy. Oh, silly troublemaker. Ooh. Hey, that's...
Don't bite me. And here he is. Oops. What's the matter? You wanted to be on camera before. Alrighty. Looks like Vivi does not want to say hi to everybody now. Well, you know how cats are. You know, they do things on their own... of their own volition and on their own terms. So... maybe we'll see Vivi later on if he's in the mood. Okay, so next I'm going to grab the Scrag Brown, which... I don't know, I think this pot was a little warped, but hopefully I can shake it up without getting it all over the place. And I'm going to use this for the little bits of fungus, the round bits that are both on the stone underneath and on the stone up top. Exactly. He is such a little sweetheart, though. And I know I've mentioned it before, well, maybe not on the stream at least, but the difference between when I first got him and the way he behaves now, you know what, I am hesitant to use this brush. I think it's a little too big for this. The difference just in his attitude between when I first got him and the way he is now is night and day. Even just like a week into having him, I was warned by the good folks over at Tabby's place, where I had they're incidentally, if you're in New Jersey and you're looking to get a cat, Tabby's place is a wonderful adoption agency. They rescue cats. They have a bunch of great fosters that take care of the kitties until they're ready to go to their forever homes. But they warned me that, you know, be careful. He's a very shy kitty, so, you know, don't push him. Don't you know. And I'm like, don't worry, I've had experience with shy kitties in the past myself, so I think everything will be just fine. And now he's constantly climbing all over me, doing flying punches at Pixie's face, which I really need to get a picture of that in motion at some point because it is hilarious. It's like that famous meme of the, well, famous, but, you know, that once popular meme where you have the two cats, like, just in midair and someone photoshopped lightsabers into their paws. Just like that. Actually, just as I was getting ready to start the stream today, he actually jumped up and gave Pixie a little kiss on the nose, which was so adorable. I got my camera out, but by the time I had the camera out, they were done. But the important thing to remember is that Pixie knows exactly who's in charge. So if Vivi is playing soccer with her kibble and she wants to eat, she will sit back and just look at me mournfully with these eyes that just say, "Daddy, I'm hungry, but I can't do anything because the cat's there." And I look right back at her and I say, "Pixie, you're literally 20 times his size. You can push him out of the way and get to your food." But she just continues to look at me with those big eyes like, "But I'm hungry now and he's there." Pixie really is the sweetest dog I have ever seen in my entire life. She loves people, gets along pretty decently with other dogs, provided they don't try to pull, you know, alpha female status crap on her. She will not stand for that. No siree. as my sister's Shetland sheepdog learned to her dismay on more than one occasion, because Cassie did not learn her lesson that she should not get into a fight with a 55-pound border collie. Too much of the Scrag Brown on there, but you know, it's not too bad. I think it was a little too light elsewhere, so kind of makes up for it. And Vivi's like, hey, I knocked those papers down for a reason. How dare you put them back up on your desk? I'm gonna knock them down again. I'm like, no, Vivi, you're not going to do that. Get down, boy. And he still managed to take a paper down with him. Oh, such a little troublemaker, but he's so adorable. I can't stay mad at him. That's shallow old me. Get me a cute guy and I will let him get away with anything. And he's back. It's funny. JD had given me a bunch of toys that he had, gotten for his cat when he had first gotten them that the cat's not playing with anymore, so he gave them to me for Vivi to use. And Pixie loves the toys, chews the hell out of them, shreds them and everything. Vivi wants nothing to do with them. Instead, he grabs Pixie's kibble and bats that all around the place. Loaf mode has been engaged. He is now lying down there quietly and watching me paint. See how long the calm before this storm lasts. All right, well, enjoy your laundry. Thank you very much for joining us, Kitty. I will see you at the store tomorrow. I've got some laundry to do too, but it's done. It's just waiting in the dryer for me to fold it. I got plenty of time to get to it. Got all day. And again, I'd like to remind everybody watching, well, first I'd like to say I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor and click that little heart icon to start following our channel. It's a nice, free, and easy way to support us, to support me, support the store. If you want, you can set notifications so you'll find out whenever I go live. So whether you like, seeing me painting like this, or if you are into Magic the Gathering, or if you're into comics, I'm working on figuring out some other material to put on this channel as well. So if you follow us and set your settings, you can find out whenever I've got more stuff coming on. Last Tuesday I did I led a discussion about DC's Future State Comic event that's going on this month and next. This upcoming Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to draft for Magic the Gathering, which is a really fun format, and it's also extremely popular at the store. So, and VV is attacking my brushes again. Down you go, little devastator. But yeah, if you ever want to, learn what drafting's all about and how that differentiates it from other type of Magic tournaments, and a little bit of why it's as popular as it is, tune on in and you can find out. They got a little too much of the Scrag Brown on there, but that's fine. Whew. And let's move on down to the bits that are on the brown stones instead of the gray stones. We can make those stand out a little bit more. Hey, Dr. Red, how's it going? Thank you for joining us. All wrapped up with Fallout already? Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been applying the some of the layers today, so we're getting the details going. Oh yes, everybody, like I did mention it before, so don't worry, Dr. Red. Believe me, I'm never forgetting how helpful you've been. Dr. Red has been helping out a lot with our channel here, giving me advice as far as, different equipment I can be using, different things I should pay attention to, where I could find some good copyright royalty-free music. And he streams over on his channel Fallout 76, so if you want to check out some content related to that game, check him out. He is dr_red_md on Twitch. You can also, if you click the link that he just posted there in the chat, set up on multi-Twitch, so you can watch both his channel and ours at the same time. Another thing that can lurk for a bit, by all means, please do. Get my numbers up. Dr. Red also makes sure to check in and comment and participate in the discussion here whenever he's not streaming over on his channel. And he also, every once in a while, if something amusing happens on here, grabs a clip of it and then edits it down and gets it over to me so I can post it both here on the Twitch channel, but I can also add it to our various social media. I don't know, is Twitch officially counting as social media also? I'm not quite sure. Obviously there are significant social elements to it. So I'm going to say yes. But on the subject of social media, you're absolutely welcome to follow us on our various other social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook at ToyWiz Collectibles. You can find us on Twitter at ToyWiz Store. You can find us on Instagram at ToyWiz Store. And if you're doing some painting of your own and would like to share your stuff, feel free to send it along the way that Minecraft Noob 38 did earlier. I will be taking a look at his work once I am done with the stream and letting him know if I have any suggestions or overall how I think he did. You can also find replays of this in addition to on our Facebook channel. You can find us on YouTube at ToyWiz, no ToyWiz Store, just plain ToyWiz for that one. Where we've got our replays for this as well as a bunch of other material, like card box breaks and pack breaks and all sorts of fun stuff. I do my weekly comic rundown there. Alrighty, I think I am done with the Scrag Brown. I think I got all of my little bits of fungus there, as well as everything I needed to do with the horn up top here and the ropes. So I think it's time to move on to something else. Hey, Maddie! Welcome aboard! Thanks for joining us. Maddie's a good friend of mine that we met online. We've never met in person, but he was a great commenter on Fark, so I started stalking him on Twitter. Started following him elsewhere, and we've become friends. And he is just a fun, wonderful person. And I am buttering him up because I'm just a kiss butt like that. But Maddie was playing some. I was about to say Oblivion, some Morrowind earlier on his channel. And yeah, how's the modding going? He said as he tried to remember what the heck he's about to do. Oh, right. Let's do the metal next. So the metal, we're going to need the Administratum Gray. And if this is light enough, I might try to put some of this on the mushroom stalks to kind of go over bits where I accidentally hit it with darker paints around them. Get that nice and shook up. Okay, loaded that up a little heavily, but so we got the side of the paint pot for, so I can get the excess paint off, so we can try to keep it nice and light, so we can dry brush this. Now I'm not doing a full dry brush. I mean, if I was going completely all in with the dry brushing, I would actually take the paint off completely, or almost completely, with the paper towel. But the idea is just leave a little bit on there to just kind of highlight the different pieces. So this will, stick a bit more on the little rivets that are holding the metal pieces in place to bind the moon to the stone. Just so they stand out a little bit more. And because I got a little too too much brown on this little piece up here, I can use the gray to kind of go back over that and fix that little oopsie. Too much on there, but as you can see, the what was I using? Basilicanum gray contrast paint, you know, kind of seeped in and dried dark on those chains. So by just kind of lightly going over them with the Administratum gray, the darker elements inside the chain remain dark and shadowed, whereas the links get a little extra boost. And then we've got the little metal parts on the cages here. So let's see if I can find the rivets there, just to give it a little, just a little pass, so you can see that it's not just wood on these cages. The idea is I do want to keep the rivet parts a little bit brown regardless, just to show that it's been there for a while and the metal's gotten kind of rusted and nasty. So by giving just a very light pass, I can give that effect. So we see that, yes, there is metal there, but it is corroded and nasty. Just like the poor skeleton that's trapped inside. Just letting it dance a little bit over there. So we don't want to get too much on there. Okay, let's do the metal on the other side here. Now this is just a very light gray. It's not a metallic paint, so that's why it's not really giving any sort of like shine to it. But that's fine, because I don't want that effect. And because it's a very light gray, I think what I'm going to do next, once I'm done just getting the rest of these chains and rivets done, is I'm going to take it and I'm going to go and take care of all those little bits of the mushroom stalks that got a little other paint on there that wasn't supposed to be there. So that should let me take care of all those little details that I may have fudged a little bit the first time around. There we go, nice and easy. Alrighty then. Let's fix those stalks. And I'm not going to go as lightly like I did when I was dry brushing this stuff, because I do want this to be able to cover my mistakes, but oh wow. Okay, that is working perfectly. just say goodbye to all those little bits that I accidentally got, you know, a little too much of the brown on when I was getting the base coat underneath them. Oh, this makes me happy. Covering up my mistakes makes me happy. Least little bits underneath. Oops. Got a little on top of my shyish purple there that I didn't want to hit. But, I mean, I'll be going over it later again with some dry brushing, so it's not the end of the world. But that was a little unfortunate. Not quite what I wanted to do there. But overall, this is definitely working out very nicely, and it matches pretty decently with the Apothecary White that I had used for the stalks on all these little mushroom thingers. And of course, by mushroom thingers, I mean, you know, mushrooms. They're not, you know, mushroom-like. They actually are mushrooms. And by actual mushrooms, I mean within the world of the game, because they aren't actual mushrooms, they are plastic. Lot to touch up over here. And if a little of the brown that I got on the stalk still kind of comes through a little bit, that's fine. Because, I mean, this is kind of dirty and grimy. It's not going to be nice, you know, pristine, pure white mushroom all over the place. Let's see a little more in there. There we go. I can't express to you just how happy I am with the way this is coming out. Adding these layers to it really is just giving it so much of the extra depth and detail that I like. And again, just being able to kind of go over and fix the bits where I got a little overzealous is just wonderful. And if you're finding this a little mellow for your taste, don't worry, the other material we put up on this channel that's not painting related is a bit more high energy. As I mentioned before, and by we I mean I do a monthly, and I'm acting like I do this a lot. I've done one so far, and I do have another one planned for next month, but the first Tuesday of each month at 8 p.m., I'll be doing a comic lecture focusing on something big for that month. This past Tuesday, we covered DC's Future State event. Haven't yet decided what I'm going to do for February yet. Event-wise, there's nothing really huge going on. I mean, at least nothing new going on, because the events that are going on have been, in motion for a bit. But I suppose I can kind of go back and do a delayed start thing about Marvel's King in Black event by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. And I would like to do something for Black History Month, but definitely don't think that a gay white dude should be trying to lead a Black History Month discussion. That having been said, our featured comic section of the store will be focusing on books focused around black heroes, both fictional and, if I can find where I've got my copies of March, real life. March being the graphic novel biography, I think autobiography, I think he was involved with the writing of it, of the late John Lewis. Okay, I think we might be good on this gray. Alrighty, let's cap that back up and see what we still have ahead of us. Like I said before, it's definitely going a lot faster than I was expecting it to, so I think I will be able to wrap up with our first group of layers before I wrap things up for the stream today. So, nice. So, maybe I'll just move, left to right alphabetically. So I've already done Administratum Gray, I've already done the Gorthor Brown, I've done the Dawnstone, Moot Green. This is going to be a tough one. Now, if you look at the official artwork, the green eyes have kind of a spiral painted in on them in a lighter green. I don't even know if the zero brush is going to be thin enough for this. Let me see if I can find a double or even a triple zero in my little Mug-O brushes. That one says triple zero, but it looks a little thick. Okay, now we're getting to the point where Carl's getting a little, I guess paranoid isn't the right word for it, but trepidatious perhaps? I think that works. Okay, you know what? This zero looks a little bit better than this zero, so I think I'm going to try this one. Deep breaths, Carl. You can do this. So let's shake up the Moot Green, which you can tell this was one of the store ones and not one of my personal ones from the amount of paint that's on the outside of the pot. Okay, hopefully it's not all dried. Nope, it is absolutely liquid still. Okay. Moment of truth. Time to get a little brave. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but I am extremely proud of myself. Okay. Just 3 more to go. Okay, you know what? The really tiny ones I'm not going to worry as much about. I'm just going to put a little bit just to get a little indication of it. Okay. Moment of truth and the other big one. Let's see if I can do the same thing here. That one didn't come out quite as well, but still have a little spiral thing going. But as I'm covering the one I'm more proud of, definitely did a better job on the other side. But still, I'm very happy with that. You know, let's just add a little bit more, get a couple more lines going there just for completeness sake. Actually, that looks quite a bit better with that. Alrighty. Whew. That was terrifying. So let's dry that off there. So next we're going to move on to the Slinesh Gray, which I'm going to be using to do the little dots on the little pointy purple mushrooms. See, now's the part where I get into the ridiculous detailed stuff. So let's see how this goes. This is a new one that I just purchased last week, so it might take me a little to get this thing open. I gotta be careful not to have to simultaneously break the plastic holding it in place, while at the same time not hit it too much, because then it'll get all over the place. Okay, there we go. This ray actually does have a little bit of a purple tint to it, so that's probably why they had suggested using it on the over the Magos purple. And just in case you didn't notice a little note I have in the bottom corner, the lovely music you're listening to is courtesy of purpleplanet.com, providers of royalty-free music for streamers. Whew. So many tiny pieces here. Actually, some of these are like almost entirely dots, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back a little bit later and just completely dry brush them instead of doing the little points here and there with the extremely fine detail brush. so many little dots on these things, it's easy to lose track of where I am. Sorry if I'm not particularly vocal at the moment. I'm trying to really concentrate on getting these little dots done right. But if you have any questions or comments you'd like to share, please, by all means, feel free to say something in the chat and I will do my best to respond. I suppose I could be using my magnifier for this. And by my magnifier, I mean the store's magnifier. But I don't think I need to. So if I do, I'm going to get too bogged down in the details and miss the proverbial forest for the trees of mushrooms. Whew, boy. Okay, making progress. Slowly but surely I'm getting there. Like I said before, these little ones down here that are like entirely the little lumps, I'm going to come back to after I'm done with the detail brush here and use the larger brush to dry brush them. I could also be using this to hit the rims of these mushrooms, but I think I actually managed to do a decent job when I was putting the contrast paints down, so I don't think I need to really make those stand out any further than they already do. But who knows, maybe next weekend I'll change my mind and decide to come back and detail those a little bit more. We'll see. Again, if you're in the chat, feel free to speak up. I love having some company and love being able to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Help your content creator make content for you. Hey, welcome back, Minecraft noob. I was just talking about how I wish I had somebody to talk with while I was doing this. Well, Mr. Noob, while you were out earlier, I did something kind of risky and did some spirals in the eyes of the big one there, which I am extremely proud of, so that's why I felt the need to pop it back up on camera. And now I'm working on these little spots on the mushrooms. Getting in there with some of this Slinesh Gray. BB doesn't sound very happy. Guess he's woken up from his nap and decided he wants attention. Or not, because I see him over my bed now, out of the corner of my eye, because I'm still paying very close attention to these little dots. You know, he's just kind of lying down in the sunlight. Nice, bright, sunshiny day here in New Jersey. While the stores in New York State is right on the border with New Jersey, and I commute over it every day. Not that far, like a 15-minute drive. I'm going to try to get some of this glommed paint off the edge here and try to rebuild the point of the brush before continuing on to get the rest of these little dots. Of which there are so many. My mother used to love crafts. She was always, you know, painting adorable little, you know, napkin holders for the holidays, stuff like that. And my father was a big geek. So between the two of them, painting miniatures for a swords and sorcery game was kind of inevitable for me. I'm going to be very careful. I just want to get just a little bit of paint on each of these dots. Obviously, they don't need to be perfect. But at the same time, I don't want to, end up with a big, massive smear all over the place. Alrighty. A little bit more on there for that last mushroom. Then move on to the base coat brush so I can dry brush those mushrooms that are nothing but dots. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. That's... Why did I close that up? That's not it for the Slinesh Gray. Okay, I will be reopening the Slinesh Gray momentarily. Let me just try to get the point back on this fine detail brush, which I think I may have killed. That was unfortunate. Alrighty. Let's go back to the Slinesh Gray, and we'll do some dry brushing. Oh, would you look at that? There was some on the outside of the paint pot, which is now on my finger. Okay. Well, that's why I've got an entire roll of paper towels on the floor here, so I can get back to them whenever I need to. Okay. So... let's get a little on the end of the brush here. And I'm actually going to go and just pull it off on the paper towel there. And just like I was doing earlier, dance it over there so it hits all of the raised parts. And doesn't get into the crevices. Nice and easy. And I know there was one more of those I have to hit. I think it was over on this side. Ah, there it is. So we'll give that a little tap as well. And again, just dance it over there. Alrighty. That leaves us with 3 more colors to go. So let me wipe the Slinesh Gray off of my fingers again. Take care of the brush first. And then we wipe down the Slinesh Gray paint pot. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I guess alphabetically we'll move on to the Shabti Bone next. And I'm just going to be using this to dry brush the skulls, the skeleton, all that stuff. So let's shake that on up and get another bit of paper towel so I can use that to remove the excess paint from the brush. There we go. If I can get this thing open. There we go. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but the Skeleton Horde is so good I probably don't even need to do this, but... oh my. Now that is a thing of beauty. Let's get the back now. Yeah, we don't want to go too crazy with this one. Just get parts that stick out. So we make the parts that don't stick out stand out more in contrast. was easy. So let's move on to the skulls that are on the ground there. It just lightens them up ever so slightly. See? Oh, Animal Crossing New Horizons? I heard that's very good. Are you enjoying it? Oh, glad to hear it. Alrighty, 2 colors left to go, and there's not too much left. And then then I'll be ending for today, and we'll finish this up next weekend. So we move on to the Wild Rider Red, which is a bit more orangey, and we're gonna use this to highlight the red mushrooms. And then when I do next week's stream with the second layer of the layer paints, I'll be doing some, let's see, Fire Dragon Bright, which is even more of a yellowish orange. I'll be using that to do the spots on the red mushrooms. Just get a little on there and then just wipe it off. I'm not going to do the full dry for this one. I'm just going to take a little off there. All those little mushrooms here on the base as well. Okay, I think we are good with the Wild Rider Red. So next up is going to be the Xerius Purple, which I know I've mentioned before. I don't know if I mentioned it yet today. It is still fairly dark, even though it's brighter than the, or lighter I should say, than the Slinesh Purple. It is still pretty dark, so isn't necessarily going to show a huge difference, but since I was a little bit lighter on the application of the Slinesh Purple yesterday, that should make it stand out a little bit more, but we shall see. Before I do that, however, let's take a quick look at our progress. Not a bad start. And there's not really too much left to do, so not a bad finish either, for that matter. But still, we're going to keep going and get a few more details on here. Again, just doing a little bit more today. Well, be done definitely before 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the rest of this will be continued and wrapped up next weekend when I do the last of the layers. And then as far as what comes next, we will find out. Okay, let's load up the brush and then unload it. So we just have a little bit on there. And we're just going to do all these little flat pieces up here. There we go. We've got the pieces over here on the sides. You can even kind of go down a little bit and just tap a little bit underneath, just so it's not a bunch of unbroken gray. Because it's going over the white instead of the Slinesh Purple, makes it stand out a little bit more like that. There we go. Let's get a little more in there. I do want to keep some of the gray visible there, just to give it that little extra bit of contrast. That's why I'm not going in there with a full brush. I'm just wiping a little bit of the purple off before I get in there. This will also help to make the flatter mushrooms stand out a bit more from the pointy ones that do have the completely gray stalks. A little more in there, just a tiny bit. Too much, but that's all right. So again, we are going to be going through again with the lighter purple, which will help to kind of cover up some of the parts where I got a little overzealous there. Okay, we got these over here. And again, we'll go underneath and get the undersides of the mushroom caps there. Okay, so that does it for those mushrooms. Now we just have to get these little bits in here. Just go a little, again, just kind of dance it over there. I don't want to go too crazy with them. just enough to give a little sense of depth to it. Which will be further compounded when we come back later on with, what color do I use next? The Gene Stealer Purple, which we'll be putting on top of that. So, with that, I think that might be it for the day. We quickly wash off the brush, get the Xerius paint off of it, and I'll hold this up so you can see what we've done so far. We are finally approaching the end of this piece. Don't worry, there will be many more to come. Still have a whole Thousand Suns army that I still have to finish building. I've got the Khainite Shadow Stalkers that I have to begin assembling as soon as I get some bases for them. So there will be plenty more miniatures action to come on this channel, so don't worry that this is going to be the end of it, because that is far from the case. Now, I just need to find out where Vivi knocked my cap to. Oh, here it is. Hiding over by Molag. Okay then. So here we have, still in progress, but making some pretty solid headway on it, the Bad Moon Loonshrine. Turn this around and get a look at the other side of it. Show some detail on my poor little skeleton there in the cage. And so that just leaves us with, I think, one more day, and we'll be done with this. So join me next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be heading into the second batch of layer paints to wrap this up. Thank you very much for joining me today, everyone that popped on by, everybody that was chatting in the chat here. Please, if you've just been kind of lurking and seeing what's going on, do me a favor, follow the channel. You can hit the notifications button to find out whenever I do more of these. I try to do these miniature streams every Saturday at, like I said before, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have other material that goes on in this channel. We do comic lectures, we do some Magic the Gathering Arena. So please pop on back. Thank you again very much for joining us. This is the Bad Moon Loonshrine. I will take some stills to show the progress, and I'll be posting them up on our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook page, so you can get a look at how it's coming along compared to how it began before I started today's stream. And that's about it. So thank you very much. I'll have the links to all of our social media during the stream end, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.